folks, welcome back to another spellbinding episode of Whining About Pest Control. If you've just stumbled upon us for the first time, I am Shell Hartzer of 360 Pest Consulting. And today, continuing to talk about some of our moisture-loving pests. Last time we talked about the sosids, aka the book lice, and this time we're talking about a similar size pest, springtails. We haven't covered these yet, so this is going to be super fun. Since I am talking about a small, light-colored pest, I'm drinking a nice, light, white Chablis, so cheers. Oh, that is good. This is a nice one. Okay, quick background. These insects, and yes, you can argue with me if you want to about whether these truly fit in the insect class. I don't care, I'm going to call them insects. They're found in the soil for the most part, and there are more than 9,000 species worldwide. They're omnivorous, they prefer those moist conditions in the soil underneath the leaf litter, things like that. They're wingless, usually cylindrical, so they can look a bit like our sosids, or they're kind of globular. They look like tiny spider beetles, and they are incredibly tiny. Most of these are less than 6 millimeters long. They can be white, gray, great. Oh, God. Never going to finish this. Hey folks, welcome back to another spellbinding episode of Whining About Pest Control. If you've just stumbled upon us, I am Shell Hartzer of 360 Pest Consulting, and today we're continuing to talk about some of our moisture pests. Last time we talked about the sosids, and this time we're talking about a similar size pest, springtails. And I haven't covered this yet, so this is going to be super fun. And since we have that small, light-colored pest, I'm drinking a nice, white, light Chablis, so cheers. Oh, that is good. Link down at the bottom. Quick background. These insects, and yes, you can argue with me if you want about whether these truly fit in the insect class. I don't care, I'm calling them insects. They're found in the soil for the most part, and there are thousands of species, probably more than 9,000 species worldwide. They're omnivorous, they prefer those nice moist conditions in the soil, in leaf litter, other areas like that. They're wingless, usually kind of cylindrical, they look a bit like the sosids, or they can be kind of globular. They look like tiny spider beetles, and they are incredibly tiny. Most are less than about 6 millimeters long. They can be white, gray, yellow, even kind of a bluish color. As the name implies, they jump. Their defining characteristic is the furcula. This is a spring-like appendage tucked beneath their abdomen, and when they're disturbed or they feel threatened, they release that furcula, and that launches them rapidly into the air, hence the common name springtail. It's basically an escape route. I do want to point out one very cool species of springtail that is called a snow flea, not a flea, is a springtail. These come out in the spring, and they're this deep, dark, gray-blue color. And so they look like little jumping fleas on top of that white snow. Really cool. And although harmless, all of our springtails, basically, when the outdoor conditions become too wet or too dry, that's when they start to migrate, often in really huge numbers, and often right into a structure through cracks in the foundation, beneath doors, or really any small space that allows them entry and connects to the soil. I see these a lot in warehouses or food facilities when they come up through those expansion joints in the concrete. And this is when they get that status of being a pest. Okay, whining about control. Here we go. Like the sosids, basically eliminate the excessive moisture, you eliminate their food, and their ability to survive. These are very susceptible to desiccation, to drying out. And we all know that's easier said than done to reduce the moisture, but really pesticides are not even going to put a dent in their population. The long-term solution for springtail control is really about modifying that environment. So first thing we want to do is reduce that outside moisture, moving mulch away from the foundation, ensuring proper drainage. You want to let that soil dry out between watering the plants or watering the lawn, whatever it is. However, when conditions outside become too dry, these start to migrate to damper areas, which are often very close to structures or just underneath structures, and that's when they start coming up from those expansion joints or in crawl spaces, whatever it is. So you're kind of looking for that Goldilocks zone of not too dry, not too wet. Now we can also dehumidify. So inside we can use dehumidifiers to drop that relative humidity in basements, crawl spaces, living areas to below 50%. Now, that's not always possible when we have large structures. So, adding in any type of air movement, anything with fans, that can still help some. And while you're at it, if ventilation can be increased in areas like bathrooms, kitchens, other high moisture areas, that can also help out. And of course, as with all pest control, we want to seal all our entry points. Caulk, seal those cracks, and around the foundation, around windows, whatever it is, to physically keep them out. Again, easier said than done since they're so tiny. In essence, the customer's help here is really essential to help get that moisture down and to seal up. So make sure their expectations are realistic about what we can really do from a pest control standpoint. Because most of us know, as easy as it sounds, sometimes it isn't. And that's why I whine. You can feel free to whine to me about your past problems. We can help you with that. Hit all those buttons down below so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, here's to our spellbinding little springtails. Cheers. Yeah, I like that one.